Come, Shailja.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
Please sit down.
Thank you, sir.
It's past morning.
Good afternoon.
Shailja, introduce yourself.
So my name is Shailja. I'm a graduate in history from St. Stephen's College, Delhi University. I've studied for most of my part in Bihar, and after which I moved to Delhi for higher studies in class 11th. I graduated in 2018, after which I've been preparing for civil services.
Are you working anywhere?
No, sir, I'm not.
What are your hobbies?
So my hobbies are watching documentaries, reading about archaeological discoveries, and dancing.
Dancing?
Yes.
What sort of dancing?
So I usually do it as a part of my fitness regime. So I do it for around 20 to 25 minutes, and that is something.
Okay. Dr. Singh?
Shailja,
Yes, sir.
you also studied in DPS and you were vice head girl.
Yes.
So tell us what are some of your leadership qualities?
So I was the vice head girl of the DPS Archipunam hostel. So
Speak loudly.
So I was the vice head girl of DPS Archipunam hostel. So
Okay.
usually my work was to maintain discipline in the hostel. Also, I was given the work of counseling the class 11th students who were not able to adjust in the hostel.
Right. So you tell me some of the other qualities that you have, leadership qualities, that may come to your help when you become the district magistrate of Saharsa.
Yes. So the very first leadership quality I could think of in me is I feel I am approachable. I don't feel that I am a person who somebody would fear to talk to. And the other quality I could see in me is I am empathetic. I can talk to people. I can make them understand what are the issues.
You tell me one quality that you don't have and you think that you should have as a public servant.
So one quality I feel I need to work upon is that I cannot manage a lot of things at the same time. So in that sense, I feel that I need some improvement and I am working on that.
All right. So do you read the newspaper
Yes, sir.
on a regular basis?
Yes, sir.
You read today?
Not today, sir.
Not today. So there was something about H-1B visa. Have you heard of this term,
Yeah.
H-1B visa?
Yes, sir.
What is this?
So it is a visa given by the US government to outsiders and especially in terms of Indian government, it is important because it is given to the educated graduates who are going to US to work in the private sector.
Okay. So a lot of professionals also get this visa.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do Indians also get it?
Yes, sir.
So what is the kind of numbers or a percentage that Indians get this H-1B visa?
Yes, sir. According to a report that I have read, I believe there are around 40% of the quota system which is given to Indian professionals.
Is there a quota system?
I think there are around 60,000 seats which is given annually to students, but I'm not sure.
So is it some kind of a quota? It is given to Indian or
No,
it is chosen in some kind of
Sorry, sir. I think it is not a quota as such, but there is a certain limited amount of visa which is given.
So also recently India and US held some bilateral discussion, dialogue.
Okay.
It goes by the name of 2+2 talks.
Yes, sir.
Have you read something about it?
Yes, sir.
Why is it called 2+2 talks?
So it is engaging the defense ministers and external affairs minister of both the countries, US and India, and it is also in terms of the other countries like Australia and Japan.
So you know the defense minister and foreign minister of US?
So I think in US it is the Secretary of State,
Okay.
Mr. Blinken. I could remember,
Okay.
but other member I need to go and
Lloyd
check.
Austin is the
Okay.
Secretary of Defense.
Okay, sir.
So, what was the outcome? Was there any positive outcome as far as India was concerned?
So one positive outcome I could see in terms of how common people have a lot of knowledge about what are the issues and what are the solution to those issues. Both India and US have been quite vocal about putting forward their aims and objectives and the relationship that the both countries now enjoys in terms of the world.
Right, but some specific outcome.
Yes, sir.
After all, they held such a big meeting. Did they come to some kind of an agreement on something?
So in terms of the Russia-Ukraine war, I would say US agreed to give India the freedom to have its own say in the matter.
Okay. Something about space, are you aware of?
No, sir, I have to read about
Okay,
it.
last question I'll ask you, but it agreed to give India the space, you said, but it was also very openly critical of India's human rights record.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of it?
Yes, sir, it did.
And India did not take it very lightly.
Yes, sir.
So why do you think US is so critical of India as far as human rights issue is concerned?
Sir, I would not say it is just critical of India as such, but yes, as a world power, it wants to project itself as a country that upholds the human rights in the world, and that is where it also talks about India human rights records and also other countries such as China and Pakistan.
Okay, suppose you were the foreign secretary and you were holding a press meet with Mr. Anthony Blinken.
Yes.
And he said, you know, India's human rights record is not very good and this and this. Then, as a foreign secretary, what would be your reply?
So my reply would be about the fact that all these allegations have been looked at in India in terms of the due process of law. Everything is being looked at. Nothing has been said or nothing has been done without India not giving importance to human rights in India. So the people and the country as such do not put forward such difficulties in their record of human rights, but I would say that these allegations have to be supported by the facts. So that would be my take.
Okay, thank you.
SHAILJA,
Yes, sir.
have you heard of CUET,
Yes, sir.
the entrance exam?
Yes, a common entrance examination.
Yes. What are your views on this? Is it a good system or no?
Sir, I feel that it can be said it has both negatives and positives. In terms of the positive effects, it would have on the fact that it will have a single examination, and that would be for the admission to all the central universities of India. But the other fact would be how it can lead to ignorance of the school system, which holds a lot of importance in student in class 11th and 12th. So in that sense, I believe there should be a proper framework of what would constitute the syllabus and what would be the framework of the examination.
What
so that,
syllabus are they following?
so till now they had been telling about the NCRT's textbooks and the
So that would favor those who are appearing for CBSE in class 12.
yes, but at the same
What
time,
happens to the other boards?
yes, that is one thing that I also wanted to talk about. Also the fact that objective system can lead to importance of the coaching institutes and the private coaching institutes which caters
Okay.
to objective type of examinations.
Okay. Now the college you come from has announced a somewhat different policy.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware?
Yes, sir. Today or yesterday, it did talk about the fact that 85% of the voting of the weightage would be given to the CUET, and the 15% would be given for the interviews in Saint
But
Stephen's
is that
College.
allowed in the system?
So Delhi University directive was regarding the Christian minorities should be given the importance of interviews, but the rest of general candidates should be allowed through CUET. So St. Stephen's did not take that directive.
So what do you think? The stand taken by your college, is it justified or not?
So in terms of
They
just
say they are a minority institution, so they can follow this practice.
Yes, sir. And that is how they had been doing it in the past also with respect to a DU other examination. But I feel in terms of justification, there needs to be proper dialogue between DU and St. Stephen's College to resolve this issue.
Okay, good. Now you have also studied economics at school level,
Yes, sir.
class 12 level. Do you
Yes.
feel comfortable if I ask you one or two questions
Yes,
on
sir.
economics?
Yes, sir. I will try.
Okay. So, tell me, what is the level of GDP we have attained as per government projection by March 22?
So in terms of amount or in terms of the growth
value?
rate?
Yes.
Sir,
amount?
as far as I remember, it's 233 lakh crores.
Okay, very good. And in purchasing power parity, where do we stand?
So in purchasing power parity, India is at the third position after China and US.
How much?
So that I have to go and check.
No, Indian GDP in purchasing power parity, you don't know how much it is. It's about 8.3 trillion
Okay, sir.
in dollar terms.
Okay, sir.
Now, tell me what exactly do you mean by purchasing power parity?
So purchasing power parity is in terms of the US dollars. How a particular good in India is amounts in terms of the US dollar, and that is how it gives a sense of the standard of living in India as compared to US.
But why is it different from the exchange rate otherwise?
So it is different from exchange rate because a lot of goods in India is very differently measured, and the importance of a particular good in a particular economy, and that is where I believe the difference lies.
Okay, let's move to a different subject.
Okay, sir.
Have you read about the merger of PVR and Inox?
No, sir, I have not.
You have not read. Do you know what green hydrogen is?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Sir, the importance of hydrogen as a fuel and green hydrogen in this sense is the production of hydrogen as a fuel through the green power, through the use of renewable energy sources.
No, but if you are using energy, what's the point of producing
So
hydrogen?
because there is another hydrogen which is grey hydrogen, which is produced
No,
through
but green
fossil
hydrogen
fuels.
you are producing. Do you understand? Have you studied science at any level?
So I have studied till class 10th, after which I did humanities.
So you are using energy.
Yes, sir.
You say renewable energy or green energy
Yes, sir.
to produce hydrogen, which is green hydrogen.
Yes, sir.
So what is the purpose? You are converting just one form of energy into another.
So I think in terms of the impact, it is energy efficient and climate friendly. The emissions from green hydrogen is very less in comparison to the fossil fuels used as fuels in cars and the other automobiles and manufacturing industries. So it is in terms of the emissions generated, and that is where it also holds importance in terms of the nationally determined contribution.
We'll talk about it when you come for feedback.
Yes, sir, sure.
Okay.
Okay, Shailja,
Yes, ma'am.
you are a student, first of all, dancing. What dancing I did not catch?
Ma'am, I do it as part of fitness.
What dancing do you do?
Ma'am, I could say that not a particular form, but aerobics and following
Okay.
those on the YouTube.
If I asked you some forms of dancing, would you know about it or not?
Yes, ma'am, I can say the classical forms and some.
Very good. So, Bharatnatyam mudras, from where are they derived? There's some temple or temples where they say you find these mudras, you know?
Ma'am, I could remember as far as the Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple, I could say one, but I am not sure about it.
Doesn't matter. Okay, so you have done history, world history.
Yes, ma'am.
Everything. All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Tell me 3 great men in history who shaped the destiny of a country to which they did not belong. Maybe good, bad men, but famous men. Well known.
Sorry, ma'am, I cannot
Okay, never
recall
mind.
that.
So you are interested in archaeological discoveries also.
Yes, ma'am.
So have you heard of Jagatgram in Kalsi?
No, ma'am, I have not.
There was an Ashwamedh Yagshala found, all right.
Okay.
And the lost golden city?
Sorry, ma'am, I have to look.
Last year. Okay. There was something found in the Thar Desert recently. Are you aware?
Yes, ma'am. I think in terms of the Harappan civilization, some potsherds were found in the Kutch region of the Thar Desert.
Now, you've heard of Rupkund,
Rupkund.
the lake where the whole army perished?
No.
No, ASI has done. Okay.
I think I have
Doesn't
to read
matter.
a lot. Sorry.
Doesn't matter. So now we'll go to, tell me the US presidents who have faced impeachment. How many and who are they? You've done American history, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. I could remember one. Andrew Johnson was one who faced.
And more recently,
More recently, Donald Trump also was on the verge of facing the impeachment.
what is verge of impeachment? Faced impeachment proceedings.
Oh, yes, yes. ma'am,
And who
he
else?
did. And there was one also in 1980s. I am forgetting the name
Okay.
actually.
What is the procedure for impeachment?
Yes, ma'am. The procedure is that the impeachment proceeding is passed in the Senate. in the Congress, and then it a Supreme Court justice presides over the Senate meetings, and that is where the main impeachment proceedings
What is the
are
difference
taken.
between the House of Representative proceedings and the Senate proceedings? What's the difference?
Ma'am, I think the Senate proceeding is kind of a judicial
It's a trial.
measure. Yes,
It's a trial.
It's a trial.
Yes.
And
And in terms of majority, how much is needed in which house? Do you know?
I think, ma'am, in the Senate it's 50%, more than 50% of the majority, but I have to look
Okay.
at it.
Now, you know what is kamikaze? Have you heard the term? This is
Yes,
to do with the
ma'am,
Far East. Kamikaze,
Yes,
harakiri.
ma'am,
What are they?
I think in Japan, I think it's
Yes, yes. What is
something related-
kamikaze?
I think kamikaze. I think it's a form of art in Japan. I think, or I'm not.
And harakiri?
I'm not.
Okay, doesn't matter. Now, the present Ukraine crisis.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you now? You're a student of history, huh? European
Yes,
history. So
yes,
you
ma'am.
studied Russian history, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
So now Vladimir Putin, what would you call him? The butcher, or the great? What shall I call him? What is the word you are using nowadays? Restorer of Russian glory. What would you call him? Butcher of Ukraine or the restorer of Russian glory?
Ma'am, I would have my own take. I believe he is
I'm asking your take on it.
Yes, ma'am. I believe he is somebody who is trying to project as a person who is reviving the Russian history and the glorious Russian history as such. And also the fact that he is not going to tolerate something like impeachment or the threat of sovereignty on its borders.
But he has killed so many
Yes.
Bucha, and now this, what is the latest town which everybody's talking about? What poll is it? Something with B? No, after yesterday.
Okay.
Which is that teddy bear of the child and all that.
Okay. The city,
So
I don't
what
know.
about all that butchery that he's doing?
Yes, ma'am,
What
there
are
is
your views on
certainly that thing that needs to be undertaken, and the diplomatic channels need to engage with him.
No. So we're asking you the analysis of butcher or patriot.
Ma'am, I think to a certain extent it's also related to his policies in the past few years, since 2014. And we need to pay heed to the history, how he had been talking about the threat on its borders, of the Russian borders.
Okay. Two more questions.
Yes.
One question is, who do you rate as the greatest son of Bihar? And why?
Ma'am, I would rate Dr. Rajendra Prasad as the son of Bihar.
Go back in history. Greater than Ashoka, greater than Chandragupta Maurya.
Oh,
Greater than Shailja Suri.
sorry, ma'am. I thought in
No,
terms
not
of the,
sorry. I'm just asking.
I
It
thought
can
in
be
terms
Dr.
of the
Rajendra Prasad.
post-independence period, I thought it.
No, I
but
didn't
yes.
ask that.
Okay,
It
I
can be
think
JP, it can be anybody. Who
yeah,
do you rate?
but yes, ma'am, certainly it is. For me, it is Chhatrapati Ashok Maharaj, because also the fact that at a time when we did not know much about the secular notions, and the fact that we
Very
need to
good.
pay heed to
My
the
last question. You are district magistrate in Bihar, you get your home state, and there's a big flood. What would you do? How would you tackle it? 3 things that you would do.
Now, ma'am, the first thing I would do would be in terms of the evacuation of people in the areas
Okay.
which is very much. The second would be in terms of having a helpline number and the proper channels for those stranded
okay.
to contact.
Third.
And the third would be the relief measures
Like?
around the areas. The relief measures, how a lot of people need to be given the food, the shelter, and the clothing.
Thank you.
Shailja, you're from Bihar.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure, sir.
Do you drink?
No, sir.
That's good, because those who drink are not Indian. They are Mahapapis. Who said this?
Yes, sir. Recently, Chief Minister Nitish Kumar said this.
Would you agree with the statement?
So I think it comes from a certain context also, because of the fact that he does talk about it in terms of how it is impacting the dignity of women, in terms of the experience the women had with those domestic violence cases in Bihar. So it comes from a context, but yes, there needs to be a better wording of that prohibition laws and how it is important to be.
What has been the experience with prohibition in other countries? Has it ever been successful?
Sir, I cannot think in terms of the other countries,
American
but
history?
other.
You've done American history?
Yes, sir, I've done American history.
So tell me something about prohibition in USA.
Sir, I cannot remember in terms of recent times, but I believe during the Declaration of Independence and before that, there were some cases where British administrators did try to curb the freedom of this drinking and then tobacco also. So that time I can recall, but not.
No, I think you need to update. We'll
Yes,
talk
sir.
about this later.
Sure,
huh?
sure.
What was the Boston Tea Party?
Yes, sir. So Boston Tea Party raid was regarding how there were a lot of sugar acts and tea acts regulation passed by the British government, and they imposed a lot of tax. And the members of the US at that time, the present colonists, they talked about how there cannot be tax without representation. They felt they did not represent themselves in the British Parliament, so these tax did not hold importance. So they said that tea acts and sugar acts should be done away with. And they burnt a whole tea ship that was sailing to the Boston seaport, and that is about it. And that they celebrated as Boston Tea Party.
They burnt the ship, are you sure?
Or they
Or they threw the tea boxes into the ocean,
Oh yes, sir. Yes,
into the sea.
yes, sir.
Anyhow, UGC recently had a decision, a very major decision regarding degrees, the number of degrees you can undertake. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir. I think the UGC gave the guidelines that one could access 2 degrees at the same time.
Good. Now, climate change, and there's an opinion, for instance, ex-President Donald Trump, saying that climate change is a hoax, it's a fraud, because climate change has been taking place over the centuries. You have had the ice age and so on and so forth. How would you react to this statement? Are you in agreement firstly, or you would like to contradict this?
Sir, I would like to contradict this statement. Climate change did happen in the past also, but the unprecedented pace at which the climate is changing is very different. Also, this pace is related to the human activities, which can be curbed through a lot of measures. So this is something which we talk about Anthropocene epoch. So climate change in this period is very evident in terms of the heat waves and the droughts and the cyclones.
Extreme weather events.
Yes,
no?
extreme weather.
Okay,
events.
now tell me something about cryptocurrency. Have you heard of the term Bitcoin?
Yes, sir.
And have you heard of the term Ethereum?
Yes, sir.
Ethereum.
Ethereum, yes.
Give me some idea about these terms.
Yes, sir.
As a layman, you please explain, because I don't have any idea of this.
So cryptocurrency is a form of digital currency which has value only in digital terms. Bitcoin and Ethereum are 2 types of cryptocurrency, I would say. And as far as my reading, there are one difference I could think of in Bitcoin and Ethereum is that Ethereum takes more energy. It is said that it takes more energy to produce something related to that. And Ethereum is also more volatile as compared to Bitcoin. These are the 2 differences I read about somewhere in the report.
Right. What about RTI? What is the full form?
It's a Right to Information Act.
When was this passed?
So it was passed in 2005.
Would you agree that it has been a game changer?
Yes, sir, to certain extent, yes, it is a game changer because it has brought the principles of transparency and accountability in the government and the public offices. And also the online filing of RTI is something which has really brought a lot of changes and importance in the...
Right, my last question.
Yes.
You are seeing my name.
Yes, sir.
What would be the name of my twin?
Love.
In mythology.
Yes, Love Kush.
And what was the story of Love and Kush in terms of mythology?
Sir, they were the sons of Lord Ram in Ramayana. Lord Ram and Sita.
That's it. What did they do?
I think I have to read more on that.
Maybe you need to also watch some TV serials, right?
Yes.
Anyway, thank you.
Shailja, please wait for a few minutes. We'll call you for feedback.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.